Okay, so yeah, let's get started. I just want to thank the NNA for promoting this event today. This is one of several joint conferences that our hometown has produced with NNA. Before I get to that, really quick though, my name is Matt Larson. I'm the president and CEO of our hometown, and this is just one of many virtual conferences that we host for our customers and just for publishers in general. But today is very special. I want to thank the NNA for promoting this event in Pub Aux and on their website, and just doing a great job letting their members know about this. Hopefully we can get the video published, with you guys on the website afterwards for anyone that wasn't able to attend today. But with the NNA, we've had a great partnership at our hometown with the NNA for years through the annual conventions. But, this year, it's really blossomed. I feel like the relationship, we're doing so much with this association, and they've been so helpful to newspapers. We're trying to do these conferences every quarter, and NNA has been really kind to promote these and also publish a lot of the content we're putting out for our customers, just news, events, tech tips, just general, helpful advice on how to grow your business online. So before we get into it, I just want to give you some quick background on our hometown, just so you know where I'm coming from and where I'm getting all these ideas from, really, in this experience. At our hometown, we manage hundreds of newspaper websites and native apps across North America. And we have a WordPress-based platform that's been customized for newspapers. So right out of the gate, you have all the plugins that you need, and they all work together. It's just a turnkey software as a service. We're a family business founded in upstate New York in 1997. And our number one priority has always been customer support. A lot of that is kind of built into the DNA of the company. The majority of our customers are still using our PDF to HTML conversion service. And I say still using because we invented that technology 24 years ago when no one wanted to update their website, or no one really even wanted to think about having a website. And so we've been in the automation game for a long time and very active in producing newspaper websites for them. And the platform that we have is constantly evolving, as well as the feature set, all based on publisher feedback. And so a lot of the things, actually everything that you'll see today, is really a feature that was either requested by a publisher, or we came across this idea and asked our publishers if they want it, and there was universal interest. So we're kind of like an evolving organism that just changes based on demand and the pressures of the environment. So in the next 30 to 45 minutes, we're going to try to keep it under 45 minutes today. And again, we're recording this whole session. So if you can't stay the whole time, no problem. We'll send this video out to all the attendees and everyone that registered. But we're going to try to get through these 5 topics, okay? And I'm going to break them down each in detail. Auto-renewing subscriptions, automated newsletter marketing, automated social media marketing, how to create audio content in an automated way, and then finally how to turn your newspaper into a podcast. So I think we've heard from pretty much everyone, but I wasn't sure, Anita, what paper you're with. If you don't mind letting me know what paper you're coming from, and just so I have a little more background on you, I'd appreciate it if you could drop that in the chat. And then, okay, so let's get right into it, because there's a lot to cover, and I want to, I really appreciate everyone taking the time to hear me out today. So like I said, we'll try to keep it short. The first opportunity for automation that I think everyone should consider, it's not really automation in the production side of things. Everything else we're going to talk about is automating processes for the publisher. But this is an opportunity for automation that will increase revenue. It's really automating it for your subscribers, and that's auto-renewing digital subscriptions. And the question I have for you is, how many on the call are offering auto-renewing subscriptions today? Because the way I see it, month to month with auto renewal, or even annual subscriptions with auto renewal, is becoming the norm for accessing digital content. If you look at Netflix and all the digital content providers, they pretty much only offer the month to month, but it's definitely all auto renewal. So once you get into the system, you're you have to opt out is the bottom line. And it's a pretty simple thing to set up. You should be able to do it no matter what website provider you're using today. They should offer auto renewal. You're just going to need some type of a merchant account to set that up. And we recommend Stripe. That's a great company for managing the subscription processing and the credit card processing automatically. You can also use PayPal or authorize.net. And I would just really consider or encourage you all to consider the Netflix model as a way to get your foot in the door subscribers. And that looks like basically something like this. The first month is kind of a one-off. It's either discounted or it's completely free. Like Netflix does a free month, I think, or maybe it's only a week. But they offer something for free just to get the credit card. That's all that they're really doing. They're giving you a no obligation trial, but you do have to opt out. So you have to put in your credit card to get the free access, but they don't charge you until that first period expires. And with newspapers, we think you should be following the same model. There's really no reason not to, because with our system and many of the systems out there, when you sign up for a subscription of some type, that will automatically get you on the newsletter list. We're going to talk about newsletters in much more detail in just a minute. This allows you to basically, again, it forces them to opt out. And we don't want to make it difficult for them to opt out. I have seen some newspapers make it very difficult. I think like the Wall Street Journal, it's very difficult to cancel a subscription with them, especially their print subscription. You have to call in and get someone on the phone. You don't want to do anything like that, but you do want to make it an opt-out thing rather than requiring them to continually opt in every month or every year. Let's just have them auto-renew and continually deliver value to them over the course of the month or the year so that when they see that subscription charge come up on their credit card, then it's an easy thing to, just let it continue to auto-renew. It's not really a question in their mind, but they still, again, they would have to opt out. The thing that I am adding to this presentation that I haven't had until this week, this is brand new. So what we've talked about here with auto renewing, it's all kind of just intuitive, and comparing what other, again, like Netflix is doing. But here's some real data to back it up, and why you should do this. Auto renewal has actually proven to increase total revenue at newspapers. And I've got this chart here and some data from a group of 3 weekly newspapers in Alabama that we really dug into the data on. So they are, again, weekly newspapers. They're paid in print and paid online. They introduced auto renewal in February of 2020. And during that month, they generated $532 in February 2020. But in the next year, after a year of having auto renewal, this is this point up here, in February 2021, they generated over $1,000, which is over 100% increase in revenue, but comparing those 2 months. But as you can see in the chart, there's ups and downs. There's some months where you get a lot of the annual subscriptions auto renewing, and others where it's mostly the month to month. So, this isn't like a straight shot up. So what I wanted to do is look at the year over year increase. So comparing April 2019 to March 2020. So basically the year up to the month that they introduced auto renewal, that generated $5,726. The year after that, April 2020 to March 2021, generated $8,798, which is a 53% increase. So really what that is looking at the area under the curve, the total revenue generated in these 2 periods. And that just allows us to account for the variation that, these spikes in the month-to-month revenue. So really, if you're looking at year over year, they increased the revenue 53% just by changing that option, just by introducing auto renewal. They didn't change the pricing. They didn't change how they were doing marketing or the design of the website. So this was a fairly controlled study. And I thought that was a really interesting stat. So that's all that I've got on auto renewing subscriptions. Let's move on to newsletter marketing. So I want to just break down newsletter marketing first into what I see as like the 5 levels of email marketing in terms of the expanding brain meme. It's kind of a fun comparison. So level 1, this is just like the most basic level. This is where a lot of people can get started. There's nothing wrong with starting out at this level. And I'm going to break these down one by one. So here they all are, level 1 to level 5. Level 1 is like your most basic intro to email marketing. It's entirely manual, and it's the most limited scope. So you're sending it to the smallest number of people. But then we can expand it out to level 5, which is automated. You're automating everything that you're doing, and you have a much wider scope that you're emailing to. So you're not just emailing to your paying subscribers, you're emailing to non-paying subscribers. I'm going to break this down here. And welcome, Debbie. I just saw you jump on. Thank you so much for joining us. One of our favorite Our Hometown customers. So level 1, send a breaking news update to your subscribers. I like to think of this as like the original push notification, and it's still very effective. People, especially these days with still a lot of people working remotely, like they're on their email all day long. And as long as you're not getting sent to the spam box, and we can talk about some ways to avoid that, then this is a very effective way to get people's attention. So you don't necessarily need an app to bring people into the website on demand. You can send out a newsletter update with breaking news. And with our WordPress platform, it's very easy. You can just open up the article and basically click one button, and it'll send that story to your entire newsletter list. Level 2, but it's still, you got to keep in mind, this is still a manual thing. So level 2 is to send regular website updates to paying digital subscribers. So this is still sending it to the same audience, just people that are paying for access to the website. And the difference from level 1 is that you're doing this on a regular basis. So at least the frequency of the print edition is what I would recommend. So many of the customers we work with are weeklies. And like I was saying earlier, we will put up the stories for them if they just send us their print PDF. So we have a process where we will publish the articles in HTML and then send out a newsletter at the same time. So we do automate that for our customers, but I think this is something that you could do even if you're updating your website manually, just to take the time once a week to gather up the most recent stories and send out a newsletter. This is just really important for reinforcing the value of the subscription. We talked about earlier, when you have an auto-renewing subscription, you need to be constantly demonstrating value so that when the subscription charge appears on the credit card automatically, there's no question. They just let that go. They don't see that and think, I haven't used the website in a month. I need to go cancel this right now. A newsletter that's going out once a week is going to bring your readers in. We see this in our stats very clearly with this process. When we're sending out a newsletter once a week, the traffic spikes that day of the week. It's much higher than the rest of the week when there's not new content being put out there. So, this is just, again, part of reinforcing the value of that subscription. And it can be done manually with a lot of, there's free services for this. Actually, you can use MailChimp for free up to a certain level. Constant Contact, I think that they only have paid options, but I've used MailChimp before personally, and I think it's up to 2,000 emails you can send to for no cost. You can have a free MailChimp account. And so you can manually generate the newsletter template by putting in those recent stories that you've published on the website. And again, just bringing traffic in so that they get more out of their subscription. Level 3 is to expand beyond the subscriber base. So you want to offer a free newsletter sign up that allows you to maximize reach. If it's for free, people will be much more likely to sign up for it. And what you're doing here is basically building a list of leads that we want to convert to paying subscribers. That's the end goal. And obviously not anywhere near all of these people are going to convert. It's going to be some fraction of them. But the idea is you get them into the ecosystem, you start demonstrating value by sending them those frequent, regular website updates, ideally at least once a week as a weekly paper. You send out this newsletter, which really doesn't give away anything. You're not losing anything by doing this. Most newsletter systems are set up so that they're just going to pull in the headline and teaser, maybe a featured image from the story. But you don't want to put the full article in the newsletter ever. You're basically just presenting headlines and teasers, and then people can go to the website, they'll hit the paywall. But what we're basically doing is presenting the homepage of the website in a newsletter form, and it drives people to actually visit the website. Welcome, Matt. Thank you very much for joining us. I saw you just jump on. Good to see you. So level 4 and 5 are basically taking the things that we're doing in levels 1 through 3 and automating. So I think it was level 2 that we were sending these regular website updates to the paying digital subscribers. You can automate that. There's really no reason to stay down at that level 2. Even with the free options that you get with MailChimp, you can automate it through an RSS feed with your current website. You just identify the RSS feed, and any website's going to have an RSS feed. It's built into it, as long as you're publishing the articles in HTML. And you can set it up to automatically pull those headlines and teasers into a MailChimp template, and it will, you can send that to, or set that to automatically go out once a week. Ideally, you would have an integrated solution. And on WordPress, I can tell you that there's several plugins that you can use to auto-populate the templates. So you don't even need to deal with the RSS feed sending to a third party. It's just all handled within the dashboard of WordPress. And that's how our platform works. Level 5 is to automate the sending of news updates and promotional offers to the non-paying newsletter subscriber. So remember earlier I said at level 3, when you offer the free newsletter sign up, you're building a list of leads. And so what you can do here, the smart way to do it, is to segment your audience. You've got one newsletter list by default when people are signing up. And this is how it works on our system, and I would imagine for most CMSs. When people buy a subscription, they give you their email as part of creating their account. They automatically go on the newsletter list. And then we also have people signing up for the free newsletter. They go on the same newsletter list by default. But if you can segment those audiences, then you can send special targeted offers to the non-paying. So, again, these are people that just signed up for the free newsletter. They've never paid you anything for the content. So what we can do is just send a coupon to those people. It's kind of sloppy to just send a coupon out to your whole newsletter list, because again, that contains people that are actively paying you right now for a subscription. And you don't want to create that buyer's remorse of getting a coupon after you just yesterday bought a subscription. So we segment that audience, and there's a system that we've developed on top of the plugins that we have. Basically, it allows the MemberPress subscription system to talk to our newsletter system. So it automatically does that segmentation, and it's updated in real time. Every time a newsletter goes out, it checks and says, okay, these emails on the newsletter list, they are paying, so don't put the coupon in there. These emails are not paying, so we can put the coupon. And the coupon basically is just a simple banner that shows up at the top, and you can create any coupon code that you want and any type of discount. A lot of publishers will do a certain percentage off for the first month of the auto-renewing subscription, again, just to get your foot in the door. Okay, so that's all that I've got on newsletters. I actually just did a whole presentation on newsletter marketing for the Kansas Press Association last week. We're going to publish that on our website and virtual conference page, so you can learn more about that there. But let's move on to social media marketing. This is an audience that, let's face it, we kind of have to reach. There's a lot of people out there on social media. On Facebook is still the leader, especially among our target users and target customers. And so we just kind of have to acknowledge that we do have to get our articles out there. But you don't want to obviously ever publish a full story on Facebook. You don't want to give away anything to Facebook because they own everything that you put on the platform. So what you would want to do is sort of like the newsletter, just put a teaser out there. You just take a link to the article and publish it as a post. And Facebook is very good at usually scraping the website and pulling in the featured image. Posts on Facebook with images get way more clicks than those without. And so just putting stuff on Facebook is definitely smart, but the question is like, it's a cost benefit analysis. Do you really want to hire someone to do this all day long? Do you want to add it to the editorial task of the rest of your staff? Not really, because there's a real cost there. Ideally, you could bulk schedule all the posting. So there's a couple options for this. You can use Hootsuite, which I think has, again, a couple free options where you can get in. There's certain limitations on what you can do with it, but it's a good service for just bulk handling the posting. You can put in your article link that goes to your website, which is hopefully behind a paywall. You can put that link in one time and then just say schedule to go on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And then it will just take care of it. And you can just kind of do this all in a bulk process, like once a week, spend a half hour just scheduling all your posts rather than handling it every day. Because you do want to, you don't want to just necessarily dump all that stuff out at once. You want to kind of have it appear throughout the week so that you have traffic constantly coming in. Buffer is another service that you can use for this. Again, just scheduling in bulk all your posts. And then there's things built into these social networks like the Facebook scheduler. So it's the same idea, but in this case, that would just apply to Facebook. But you can set up your Facebook account so that everything that goes on Facebook automatically goes to Instagram because they're so intertwined. But ideally, you could skip that whole bulk scheduling process as well. And that would look like this. If you could automatically post all the articles that go on your website to social media, that would really be the best of all worlds. So with a system that is built into, it's called Social Media Auto Post on WordPress. This is a plugin that you can buy a license for. If you're a customer of our hometown, you can use our system, the plugin that we use for all of our customers, and you can bulk schedule. You can do scheduling as well with this tool, but I think the best use of it is to just automatically post every article as it goes on the website. So then you just schedule the articles to go on live on the website throughout the course of the week, and then they automatically get sent to social media, and they're formatted well there again so that they have the teaser, they have the featured image. This would replace the Hootsuite or any of the other bulk scheduling processes. And again, this is available on WordPress. So anyone that uses WordPress, you can get this plugin yourself. The actual plugin is called Blog to Social. And on our platform, we've kind of enhanced the plugin and we call it Social Media Auto. So Debbie, if you're interested in that, I'd love to give you a demo. Now, the fourth area of automation is podcasting. Okay, so I'm going to break this down. I'm going to do a little bit more in-depth discussion on this one than I have the other features. So this feature called audio articles, which we released about a year ago, we can automatically turn a newspaper website into a podcast. And I think I will just quickly take a look at this video on our website. Let's take a look just so that I can kind of make the case for why you should think about podcasting before we talk about how you can automate it. Check this video out. Okay, so that was a lot of information just packed into a 60-second video there. So let's break it down and start with the basics. So before we talk about why you should be automating audio production, let's talk about what the audio format could look like and why you should be getting into audio. So first of all, what is a podcast? A podcast is simply an audio program that you can subscribe to on your smartphone. And it's very similar to talk radio, except it's on demand. So a lot of these podcasters will record things live and they'll stream them live, but then they post the podcast episode later so you can listen to it at any time. And I think the main feature of a podcast is that the audio content is presented as a playlist through an app like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcasts. So as a newspaper, why should you get into podcasting? Well, as we saw in the video, and this is based on some research that I'll have the citation for at the bottom, 60% of the US is listening to online audio each week. And I like that metric because it's, very similar to a lot of the customers we work with that publish a newspaper once a week. So they're putting out content once a week. People are tuning in to the print newspaper once a week, but we're seeing 60% listening to audio. So if we could get our content into a podcast form, then we would have access to that audience. And over the last year, there's been steady growth in this audience, despite the loss in commute times. I think a lot of people in the industry were afraid that the listening would go down or the audience would decrease, but there was a 28% increase from January to April 2020. And that continued to go up 51% from January to September 2020. And the news genre has the highest impressions among all the different categories of podcasts that you can. And this is all based on some research, Edison Research, the Infinite Dial, and AdsWiz podcast trends report. So if anyone's interested in seeing some of that data, just shoot me an email. I'm going to drop it into the chat right here. Shoot me an email. I'll send you those links. Now, the problem with audio, it's like, why wouldn't you get into audio? There's all this audience that you can get access to. There's advertising dollars there. But the real problem is that audio content is expensive to produce. It's yet one more thing that we're being asked to do as a newspaper publisher. It seems like every year there's a new social network we're supposed to publish to, or a new type of multimedia we need to be putting out there. So it's just like putting more strain on the operation. It requires experience with audio recording and editing, and it could take a long time to grow a new audio audience enough to monetize it. So for this to really pay off, it takes time. So that's why the solution in our mind is with automation. It's the topic of today's session. So this is obviously where we're going, and we're doing that again with audio articles, which automatically converts every article on the website into a mini podcast. And we can insert audio ads at the beginning of every audio article. So there's your revenue opportunity. And then we can take it beyond the website. And I think this is the most exciting part of it, because this is a great feature to offer to our current subscribers and the current audience coming to the website. And obviously there's the revenue opportunity there too, but we can grow, the reach of our brand by getting into podcasts. So if we can automatically get these episodes into the podcast apps, that would be ideal. And this is a relatively new development. Just in the past few months, we started doing this. And so arranging the audio articles into a playlist is what makes it a podcast. Remember, I said those 3 features of podcasts. One of them is that the audio is arranged as a playlist. So you can just hit play once and listen to one episode after another, without navigating and finding a new episode to play and clicking play. That's important for, when people are just listening to this stuff on the go, they're driving, they're cooking dinner. They just want to be able to hit play and listen to it like the radio. Constantly have to restart. So we can embed a playlist on the website and also syndicate all these audio articles across the popular podcast apps. Again, that's on Apple, Android, and Spotify. And another way that we've seen people monetizing this in a creative way is just to write sponsored content episodes. Because remember, every article that's published on the website is going to get turned into this audio format. So you could just, in addition to all the editorial content, you could write a sponsored or native advertising post as an article, and then it will be fed into the same playlist as all the other stories. So let's take a look at some examples here. We did a podcast interview with editor and publisher a couple months ago, and you can watch that on our virtual conference page. And in that session, we presented 2 case studies, and I want to show you some examples from these. The first one was a digital-only publication in Arizona called Signals AZ. They were the first to adopt audio articles and monetize it with an audio ad. And then we also spoke with Kristen Weaver, who's the director of operations at WilsonCountyNews.com, which is a weekly print newspaper in Texas. And she does something really creative. She's monetizing the feature in combination as a package with Facebook Live. So she has a weekly Facebook Live show where she interviews, local, mainly local businesses, and will promote them through that. But she inserts a quick little 5 to 10 second plug for them at the beginning of every audio article. And she was the first to actually start syndicating all her episodes from the website into the podcast apps. So let's see. I think I've got an example here. Okay, we'll go to the website actually. And if you want to check out this link, I'll drop it in the chat too. This basically covers everything I'm about to talk about. So we've got these 2 case studies on our audio articles podcast page. Let's take a look at Signals first. So if I go to signalsaz.com, what they're doing is basically inserting a playlist that looks like this. So again, I can just hit play one time and it will play one episode after another. And it actually pulls in the featured image from that episode, which is really nice. Again, images get people's attention really well. Now, I want to go over to this slide. I think it's this one. Yeah, I've got this specific example from Signal. So I just want to make it clear that there's these 2 ways that you can listen to audio. You can listen on the article level, and you can listen through a playlist. And the playlist is usually on the homepage or it's in the podcast apps. But each article has this player at the top of it. So this is how I want to just quickly demonstrate the quality of the audio. Automatically created by a computer. This is not a person reading this, so we can do it in a very economical way. Hopefully you can hear that okay. Okay, so you get the idea. And this sounds very quiet to me. I don't know if you guys could hear that at all, but I just put the link to this article in the chat. So you can check it out and control your own volume there to listen to it. But that's basically how it works. So I don't know if you caught that, but at the very beginning, it read a sponsored message from an advertiser, and that usually matches what we see here above the player. So the advertiser gets kind of like this multimedia exposure, and then you can have it either read the title and then start reading the story, or just skip right to the story. And Signals actually has it skip the title. I think the way they look at it is you're looking at that title right there. So let's just get right to the story as soon as you hit play. Okay, now let's go over to Wilson County. I just want to show you how things look for them. Like I said, they were the first one to really start syndicating these episodes to the podcast channels or the apps. So this is what it would look like on Spotify. Spotify is getting very big in podcasting. They're not just music and playlists and like radio anymore. They're investing heavily in podcasts. So they have this whole side to them where you can follow, just like you follow a band, you can follow a podcast channel. So they've got the Wilson County News podcast. And as you can see, it's all presented as a playlist. And if you just hit play once, it'll just play one episode after another, which is nice because each article is only 2 to 3 minutes long. This is not like a traditional podcast that you might listen to, which is some of those are like 30 minutes to several hours. Sometimes they do these long form interviews. This is a nice way. I think this is really a better way to do it because you can just dip in, you can see the specific title, just listen to the stories that you're interested in. At one point we were thinking about creating audio editions so that the entire newspaper is read in it. That could take up to an hour, one episode or one article after another. But, we decided against that because it's already segmented nicely for you, one story at a time. So you can just go to the sports stories, just listen to those and, just easily jump around. But if you wanted to just listen to the whole newspaper, you could. That's kind of how this playlist is designed. And also, we've got the same kind of thing over at Apple Podcasts. So, they don't actually have an option to present the featured image on the Apple Podcast app, but they're still presented as a playlist that will just automatically play one episode after another. And the really nice thing about a lot of these podcast apps is when you subscribe to a show, you're going to be getting notifications every time a new episode is published. So again, that's kind of like the push notification thing, but it's through this service and this app that they're already signed up for. They're already responding to those notifications. Like, if they subscribe to the NPR, All Things Music or All Things Considered show, they're getting notifications each week when that show is published by NPR. So they're kind of trained already to open up the app and listen to some episodes. So you can tap into that behavior. And we published this blog post a few months ago on how Wilson County News is marketing their podcast. I just think this is worth highlighting because as a newspaper, you're in a really unique position. You can use your website, your print edition, your social media to promote something new, like a podcast. As opposed to someone that's starting a podcast from scratch, how do you get the word out? It's very difficult. So they did a really nice job, and I would recommend anyone that wants to get into this, doing something like this, just kind of like I did in the beginning, explaining what a podcast is and just really breaking down for the readers the benefits of tuning into the audio that they're producing. Okay, so we're doing pretty good on time here. I'm going to wrap it up in the next few minutes. Just to get back on course with the presentation, I want to show you so far those two case studies. Those were both our hometown customers. So they're using our WordPress platform for their website. We recognize that there's a lot of demand for this, and not every publisher is ready to change their website, but they want to try the audio. So we developed a third-party integration that works through an RSS feed, kind of like I said earlier with you. That you can do with MailChimp and newsletters. We can produce a podcast from your current website. And so the process for this would be literally you change nothing about the way you publish today. You would just publish your articles on the current website that you have. Once we set up the RSS feed, the story would automatically go into our system. We'd turn it into an audio article, and then we can feed it back to you as a playlist that you can embed right on your homepage. So you can get your current audience that's going to the website listening to the audio there. And like I said, this idea of tapping into the podcast audience, people that are really into podcasts and, actively subscribe to many different shows on Spotify, for example, we can tap into that. So we can, at the same time, send all these audio episodes and create a show for you on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. So that's just a way to kind of, again, expand your brand, market subscriptions. You can do a lot of things with that. And so for today, anyone that is on the call, really any NNA member, we're going to open this offer up to. We can do a free 30-day trial, no commitment at all. And if you want to keep using the feature, if you like it, your readers are enjoying it, it's just $99 a month for the transcription service and for all the support of audio and the podcasting. So let's just take a look at an example of a paper that's doing that. The Sedalia Democrat is a daily in Sedalia, Missouri, and they launched the audio articles playlist on their homepage. So this is what it looks like. This is a third-party website, so we don't manage the website. We just take the RSS feed and turn it into audio and feed it right back. So again, without changing anything about their CMS, they can offer the audience the option to listen to every article published on the website. You don't actually have to do every article. We can create a way for you to just send select stories that you want to be in the podcast. So you can have that level of control, but Sedalia is using it for all their articles. They have monetized it from day one. They sold a local car dealership the audio ad position so that their message appears at the beginning of every audio article. And then they very quickly expanded this program out to the Warrensburg Journal, and they have, which is a sister weekly paper, and they have the same monetization model there. And I would just suggest you all check out this live example, sedaliademocrat.com. I'll drop that link in the chat too. Okay. So I think here, let's wrap it up. Yeah, we're basically right on time. So I want to open it up to questions at this point. Anyone that has any, I'm going to basically end the webinar in the next 5 minutes or so. So drop your questions into either the Q&A or the chat. I can monitor both, but those are the 5 really kind of low-hanging fruit that we see at this point for automating processes to grow your audience and increase revenue and also reduce costs because it's automation. That's really what it's all about. So as I just kind of wait for any questions to roll in, I just want to give a quick shout out to Kevin Slimp. We have this ongoing webinar series with him. This is just another benefit of being an our hometown customer. So Debbie, I don't know if you've had a chance to join any of these or any of your staff, but just so that you know, you can send anyone from your paper to attend these totally free. He does these once a month. looking to expand the schedule. I think we've done this for the last 6 months. We've done a monthly webinar with him. And, for anyone that doesn't know Kevin Slimp, he does training with Adobe products mostly. So we did a basic InDesign class yesterday. Next month, we're going to do Photoshop. Getting to pick up your paper. That's a really interesting talk on just kind of polling your audience and understanding what stories they want to learn about, and just getting people to pick up your paper. And then we're going to, like I said, we're actually going to be having a survey go out to our customers next week, because Kevin wants to hear what our customers want to learn about, and he's going to tailor his webinars to match that. Kevin charges between $70 to $90 per seat for these webinars. And we've got a special arrangement with him, a partnership where we will just cover all the costs for our customer. Now, I can actually, if anyone on the call is interested in possibly becoming an Our Hometown customer, I can get you a ticket, a couple tickets to the July session. I can't just give unlimited tickets out to non-customers, but Kevin's okay with us inviting a few prospective customers. So that's what I want to just plug here really quick. Anyone on the call, as an NNA member, we would love to offer you a free prototype of your newspaper on WordPress. Just go to ourhometown.com/contact us. You're going to see a form like this. Just takes a second to fill out. And if you would, when you fill it out, let's see here, I want to start it funky like that. If you sign up for a prototype, we'll turn that around in less than a week. Usually it's actually a couple days, but I'll say a week from today. If you send me your print PDF, we will convert that into a full website that's actually technically ready to go live as soon as you like. So to send us the PDF, you would just go to wetransfer.com and put in our email, ops@ourhometown.com, and then just grab your PDF file. Let's see, where can I grab some kind of file here? I'll just demonstrate this really quick for you. So I'll drag this image in here, but you're going to drag your most recent PDF edition, drop it like it's hot, and then right in here, NNA member prototype request, and then just transfer those files to us. It's going to send you a verification code to your email. So you're just going to have to enter that 6-digit code, and then you're done. We'll get a notification. We'll start the prototyping process. And then you would have access to all these automation tools. Again, a lot of these things you can do through third parties if you want to take the time to figure that out. But on our platform, we've got that all sorted out already. It's built right in. It's all integrated with the website. So it just makes it easier that way. So let's see. We do have a question here from Debbie. We already have a podcast. Would we be able to integrate your podcast into ours? Like one day ours, next day yours. Does that make sense? Yes, it definitely makes sense. And I get this question every time. I should probably acknowledge it in this presentation. They don't have to be two different podcasts. I would want to talk to you about the details on that, Debbie, because ideally you could produce your podcast and syndicate it through a service called Buzzsprout. I don't know what you use to get your podcast published. There's other services like Buzzsprout, but we are integrated with Buzzsprout. So if we could have you use Buzzsprout to publish your manually produced episodes, then we could feed into the same shows. It would be the exact same podcast. And then exactly like you said, you could alternate between the automated episodes and the manually produced ones. What that would probably look like at the end of the day would be you'd have a bunch of the audio articles because they're short episodes and they come out a lot. And then you'd have like one long form episode, and you could just have different images on that. So the user could distinguish easily what's what, but they could also see how long the episode is before they start listening. So it'd be pretty easy for them to navigate, even if they're all in one podcast show. All right. No problem. Thank you very much for the question, Debbie. And thank you for joining. Okay. I think that's all that we've got for now. Just any last minute questions? I don't think I missed any. So if you have any more questions at any point, please don't hesitate to contact us again at that link. We could set up a demo for you, or if you just have a question on this presentation, shoot me an email, mcl@our-hometown.com. And I just want to thank Kate and Lynn for organizing this, and the NNA for such a wonderful partnership we have with your organization. It's been great working with you all, and really impressed by everything that you guys are doing for newspapers. We just try to do as much of that as we can as well. So that's all that I've got for you today. Just shoot me an email with any other questions. Thank you so much for everyone's attention, for your time. And we will hopefully hear from you all for a free demo. Thank you so much.